Okay, so we have a very, very special guest on set today. My baby Olutito Ezekiel is on my lap. So if you hear some cooing noises, do not be bothered too much, okay? Oh well. So yes, we're going to be talking about neonatal jaundice today. And prior to this time in my life, I really did not know what neonatal jaundice was. But thanks to Ezekiel, there are some things that I am beginning to know and understand. I realized that a lot of us are ignorant of certain information, and then we cry foul. Not because those information are not readily available, but because we haven't gone through experiences that make us need them. So if you're watching this, it's most likely because you need to hear about it. And if not, then kudos to you. I'll see you guys shortly. Just stay tuned. You're welcome back to our channel. My name is Morayo, and it is great to have you here. Today, as I said before, we're going to be talking about neonatal jaundice from my lenses or from my eyes. And I'll start with a little backstory. So with my firstborn son, Joshua, I really did not experience neonatal jaundice. So I didn't know what it was or what it entailed. But with this baby, we went through it. With Ezekiel, we really went through it. So as per usual, you're told to come back after 2 days or 3 days, or a day after you're discharged from the hospital, 2 days from the child's birth or 3 days from the child's birth, to do some routine checks in the hospital. It was at those checks that we discovered that my baby Ezekiel was jaundiced. And from the beginning, it seemed as if it was physiologic, and then it looked like it was pathologic. I will explain all these things, all these terms and their meanings as we go by in this journey together, okay? So what exactly is jaundice? Let's just start educating ourselves. What is jaundice? Jaundice is the yellowish pigmentation of a person's skin that occurs because there's a high level of bilirubin in the body. So it can also be seen on person's eyes as well. So a yellowish pigmentation of either the eyes or the skin that occurs because there is a high level of bilirubin in the body. So what is bilirubin and how is it produced in the body? Bilirubin is a byproduct of the breaking down of really old red blood cells in the body. Everybody has red blood cells. So when those red blood cells go through a breaking down process, which they do every once in a while, they have a list of products that they expel along the line. And one of those byproducts, one of those waste products is bilirubin. Bilirubin can also be found in bile. Bile is a substance that is found in the body that helps digest food. And the way that bile and bilirubin is taken out of the body is through the liver. The liver helps to remove excess bilirubin and excess bile from the body. It has its own way. So I'm saying these things in layman's terms that we can all understand, because that is how I understand it. And I hope that the way I understand it will help you understand it better as well. Okay? So what are the causes of neonatal jaundice? What is neonatal jaundice? Let's even go to that, because that is exactly what we're discussing today. Neonatal jaundice from Ezekiel's lenses or from Mama's lenses. So neonatal jaundice is also known as newborn jaundice. Is a situation just like regular jaundice, whereby there's a yellow pigmentation or a yellowish pigmentation of a newborn baby's skin, eyes, maybe nails as well, just body in general. And it also occurs because there is an excess bilirubin in the baby's body. Now, to be honest, every child that is born with a level of jaundice. We were all born with a level of jaundice. And the reason is because we were all born with an excess amount of red blood cells. Why? When baby is in the womb, when baby is in gestation period, baby's main source of nutrients come from the mother's umbilical cords. So the oxygen that baby uses, the food, everything that baby needs to survive, to grow, and to come out strong and fit comes from the umbilical cord. And you need a good amount of red blood cells to be able to do this, to be able to achieve this function. The red blood cells are also very important in retaining oxygen, which is also what baby uses to walk, right? But once baby is born, umbilical cord is detached, and you really do not need that amount of red blood cells again to be retaining anything, because baby's breathing functions kick in. Baby's nose starts to function as it should. Normal babies should breathe from their noses, okay? Breathing from their mouths may occur once in a while, but if it's a regular thing, then you should please check it out, because it may be a sign of maybe lung problem or maybe respiratory problems. Maybe their noses are stuffed or something. So you should check it out. Back to what we were saying. So once regular activity of the respiratory tracts and all those things kick in, that excess red blood cells begins to become old and stale, and as per the usual function again, it begins to break down. Now, in its breaking down is where we begin to have an excess or elevated amount of bilirubin in baby's body. If baby is preterm, then this may even be more elevated, because liver of baby is not yet fully mature enough to do the function of clearing it. Sometimes if baby is full term as well, liver functions are still growing and developing enough to be strong enough to remove those excess levels of bilirubin in the body. So now that we know what neonatal jaundice is and how it is caused, how can you treat it? Before we talk about treatment, there are other causes of neonatal jaundice except for the regular one, right? The regular one that I just explained can be known as mild jaundice or physiologic jaundice or non-pathologic jaundice. But when it is caused by other factors like blood type incompatibility or rhesus factor incompatibility. My son and I had a blood type incompatibility, which is why I said that it began to become pathologic at some point, or it began to look like it was pathologic at some point. Typically in mothers that have the O blood group and then their babies have a different blood group, maybe the A or the B blood group from them, sometimes your baby and you may have such a clash or difference that it can result in jaundice in the baby. It's usually typically between mothers who are O blood groups and then their babies are other blood groups. Thankfully, Joshua and I were the same blood group, but this baby is his father's blood group, which is the A blood group, and I am the O blood group. So that clash caused jaundice, aside from the regular one that every child is born with. There are also rhesus factors jaundice, where if you have differing rhesus factors, it can affect, the baby, the jaundice level in the baby or jaundice in baby. Another factor is breast milk jaundice. Breast milk jaundice is when the breast milk of the mother has some components in it that cause jaundice in the baby. All these are, I can't go into the medical explanation or the medical terms. All these are just simplistic explanations of the different other causes of jaundice. And there's also breastfeeding jaundice, which my baby had. Now, you will understand better again when I go into one of the treatments for jaundice, why breastfeeding jaundice occurs. Now, if you're not producing enough breast milk and you're not supplementing, and your child already has jaundice, then your child is at risk of going higher in jaundice, or growing a higher level of bilirubin and having a higher level of jaundice. Now, what are the risk factors, before I go into the treatments, of having a high level of jaundice for babies especially? When babies have a jaundice or a bilirubin level that is above 17, 20, then that baby is closely monitored because that baby is at risk for developing brain damage. In fact, before it gets to that level, they'll start checking it so that it doesn't get to those high levels. So that was what happened. My son actually went very high, like very high, but then at some point it really came down. Okay. So what are the things that we did that helped my son overcome jaundice? There are 3 treatments for jaundice. Number 1 is nutrition. Nutrition is like the basic and most important treatment of jaundice because it will help the liver. It will help, the volume of food, not just the goodness or the richness of food, which is why breast milk is the best and breast milk is very important. But if you're not producing enough breast milk, you need to supplement it because the volume of food that your baby eats, the volume is necessary and required so that liver function can kick in very actively and those bilirubins can be taken out via the pee or the poop. Okay, so nutrition is number 1 treatment or cure for jaundice. Number 2 cure for jaundice is phototherapy or light therapy, right? There are certain spectrums of light when they hit a human being's skin, especially a baby's skin. When they hit the skin, they go in, they penetrate, and they help the blood, the bilirubin to be broken down into a more suitable and less dangerous component or form that is also still taken out by the liver. But then it breaks it down further into a more suitable and less dangerous component that can be in the baby's body while it is being taken out by the liver. So our African mothers, even my mother-in-law, usually suggest that you spread the baby in the sun when baby has jaundice. Even in the hospital, we were asked, have you exposed baby to enough sunlight? It is not all types of sunlight that is good for baby. So they usually recommend early morning sunlight, which is between 6:30, 7 to about 9 or 9:30-ish. When the sun is not too high, when the sun is still clear and bright to an extent. So certain spectrums of that light will hit your baby and be helpful to that baby. But a more direct, a more focused use of light therapy will be phototherapy. And this we used for Ezekiel as well. We used the sunlight. Sunlight did not exactly work. That was because I had breast milk jaundice. I wasn't producing enough breast milk at a point because I was seriously stressed. We were going to the hospital regularly to check and to test baby for jaundice. How do you test baby for jaundice? I don't think I told you that. There are 2 methods of testing baby for jaundice. Number 1 is the use of the J-meter. The J-meter is a device that just, you put on the baby's skin and it measures the level of bilirubin in the baby's body. It's a very expensive device, so not many hospitals in Nigeria have it, but I think it's quite common in the abroad. While the second method is by, drawing blood from the baby's body and then running a test on the blood, which is what my baby did. We pricked this baby so often. That is like the typical Nigerian method. Okay, so I did both and I would share videos, of...
This is the Abroadian testing machine for jaundice. We're going to test my baby. Ooh. Okay.
So yes, that's how bilirubin is tested with the J-meter. Where was I before I deviated? I'm sure I was talking about phototherapy. So Ezekiel's bilirubin levels were skyrocketing, and thankfully we have this blessed doctor. I'm sure I've mentioned her name so many times, Dr. Daria, whose clinic is the primary clinic that we consult with. And she was gracious enough, kind enough, and sweet enough to bless us with the phototherapy device. We took it home for a few days and we subjected him to like constant exposure to the light. And after that was done, we did that for like 3 days continuously. The only times that we did not put him under the lights were maybe when we want to change his diaper, or when we want to feed him, or when his brother is at home also, because he has a toddler brother that disturbs him. So, but every other time baby was under the lights, and it really helped. It brought the whole thing crashed back to normal after we did the phototherapy treatment. Finally, the third treatment for jaundice is the use of blood transfusion. Blood transfusion is usually like the last resort, really, but it is effective when all other methods of trying to cure baby has failed. Okay, so this is summarily neonatal jaundice from our lenses and through Ezekiel's journey. We hope you've learned something. Remember to like, remember to share, and to subscribe. In fact, there's no remember. Let me beg you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now, this is not about money this time around. A lot of people feel, oh, when we're telling you to like, to share, to subscribe, is because we want to start making money. Yes, to an extent, it is true. But if I'll be honest with you, I'm actually quite far at the moment for making money. I had to do so many things if I'm going to make money, including shorts and things like that. But I'm more passionate about passing knowledge than I am about making money. I've been making this video consistently for a while now. So it's not necessarily about the money. It would be nice to make money, but I think it's more pleasing when you know that a lot of people who need the information are getting it. So please and please, I would like you to share these videos with your friends. It takes a lot of effort, you know, to be present, not just for my babies. I have a toddler and a child, but to be present for you as well. So please let this effort be worthwhile, and please invite people to like and to learn from it. People that need this knowledge, because a lot of people will cry foul, not because they are not giving the information, not because the information is not available, but because they're actually not giving the information. So please share. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Much love. Oh yeah, and my partner has actually slept off. Say bye.